2,000 years ago in ancient Greek, Plato described how we are at a never-ending battle with the three inner forces in our brains. First force consists of basic primal instincts such as hunger and mating. Second consists of your emotions such as joy, anger, and fear. According to Plato, these are the instincts of an animal and lead you to a path of misery. Then there's the third force, the most heroic force in the history of forces, and that is rationality. This force restrains both beasts and guides you to a civilized and righteous path. This compelling tale has taken Western civilization by storm, and scientists later mapped Plato's idea of battle in the brains to explain how the human brain evolved. According to them, we were first lizards 300 million years ago, and the reptilian brain was wired for basic urges like feeding, fighting, and mating. About 100 million years later, brain evolved a new part to give us emotions, which made us mammals, and then finally it evolved a rational part to tame the previously evolved parts. This is what is known as a triune brain, and it was a very popular idea. The deepest layer, or the reptilian brain, is what our reptilian ancestors gave us as a gift of survival. The middle layer, or the limbic system, gave us emotions, which was left in the will by the prehistoric mammals. The outermost layer, part of the cerebral cortex, produces rational thought, making us humans. It's known as the neocortex. One part of the neocortex, called the prefrontal cortex, supposedly binds the reptilian and emotional brain in shackles. However, this theory of triune brain is wrong. The idea gained popularity because we could relate with it. When there's a desire to eat the luscious slice of velvety cake, but decide not to because you just had breakfast and it's not good for you, it's easier to believe that your inner lizard and emotional limbic system shook hands with the devil to drive you to eat the cake when Jesus-like rational brain came to save you. But this is not true, as the human brains don't work that way. Bad behavior is not a result of ancient demons, and good behavior is not a result of rationality. In fact, rationality and emotions do not even live in separate parts of the brain. Triune theory was formalized by a physician named Paul MacLean in the mid-20th century. To explain this theory, he did a visual inspection. He took some dead lizards and mammals, including humans, and compared the differences by sight alone. When he could not see some parts in the lizard's brain that were present in humans, he concluded that this part is solely human and called it neocortex. Scientists have completely rejected the idea of triune theory from the evidence that came from looking at the hidden parts of the brain within the molecular makeup of brain cells called neurons. Now, before we talk crap about MacLean, let's remind ourselves that now we have better technology as compared to what MacLean had. What neuroscientists discovered is that species that look very different but still contain the same genes suggest that those neurons have the same evolutionary origin. If we find same genes in human and rat, then similar neurons with same genes were most likely present in our last common ancestor. Your brain has 4 clusters of neurons, or brain regions, which help in movement and sense of touch. These brain regions are collectively called primary somatosensory cortex. In rat, this is only a single region. So if we simply compare the two as MacLean did, we will conclude that these newer regions evolved in humans and have human function. However, your 4 regions and the rat's 1 region contain many of the same genes. This means that the last common ancestors of humans and rat, which lived about 66 million years ago, probably had single somatosensory region that carried out some functions. The single region most likely expanded and subdivided into 4 regions to redistribute its responsibilities as we evolved. Therefore, you don't have 3 extra regions that were evolved afterwards, but the same one dividing itself. How or why evolution did that? No one knows. Evolution can be a tricky son of a Now here is something even more interesting. The process by which a brain is developed follows the same plan as all mammals, whether it's human, rat, fish, or lizard. In the embryonic state, when the brain starts developing neurons, is very predictable. Even the ordering is the same for each. If the human brain follows processes X, Y, and Z in the same order, then the same process is followed by a rat and a lizard and every other mammal that has been studied so far. Then why do these brains look so different from each other? This is because the duration of the stages differ. If stage X takes 20 hours in humans, it may take 2 hours in lizards. Completely arbitrary numbers, by the way. But the overall process is the same. For example, stage that produces neurons for cerebral cortex runs longer for humans and shorter for rodents. This is why your cerebral cortex is large. If you somehow got the powers of Ant-Man, became smaller to go in a lizard embryo and changed the timer for that stage for as long as it takes in humans, it would produce something like a human cerebral cortex. It wouldn't function like a human one though. Turns out size isn't everything, even for a brain. So finally we can say that humans have no new parts. Same neurons can be found in the brains of other mammals. It's just that the duration of each stage in brain development differs significantly in all the other species. That's why we can see all these different shapes and sizes of brains. This disproves the triune theory, and you can live in peace with just one brain.